So these are the what I've just mentioned. I'm going to take you to Alampur. Now, a tour to Alampur to see all the beautiful structures and also the sculptures of Alampur. So Alampur is actually located uh, in Gadwal, Jogalamba Gadwal district, and it is located on the confluence of Krishna and Tungabhadra rivers. And in inscriptional sources, Alampur is mentioned as Alampura, Halampura, Hamalampura, Hatampura, Annampura, Alampuri, and Alampuru in different periods of time, which means this is one of the most ancient places and is very sacred in Telangana region. So in the Puranas also, the Alampur was referred to as Dakshina Kasi. So they tried to make comparison with Kasi because just like Kasi, which is on the confluence of Ganga and Jamuna, Alampur is also on the confluence of Tungabhadra and Krishna. And unlike Ganga and Jamuna, these two rivers flow southwards and therefore are considered to be very important site for the construction of temples and all. So, and Alampur was also regarded as a Paschima Dwara, that is western gateway to Sri Sailam Mallikarjuna temple. And now this is, so these are the various temples that are found at Jogulamba Alampur. And it is one of the most important Shaktipitas of all the Ashtadasa Shaktipitas. Alampur is very important one. And so here you have the Jogulamba temple. And then we have the 9 temples. Now they are called as Navabrahma group of temples. So this is a map that is found on the entrance of this Balabrahmeswara temple. So you can see this map, and it's also found on the museum. Okay, so here all these temples, and I'm going to discuss about these temples and also about the Sangameshwara temple, which is located here, and also the Papanasi group of temples. So these temples, why these temples? Because these temples have such beautiful architecture, beautiful sculptural art, which I have not noticed in any of the temples that I have visited in Telangana. So this has really fascinated me, and hence I thought I should share with you all also the beauty of this sculptural art. So, so this, yeah. So all these temples, they are called Navabrahma group of temples, and these temples were constructed in historical times, and their origins are rooted in myths and legends. So Alampur is also an important. I mean, when we look at the religious importance of Alampur, it is an important place of worshippers of Shiva. And here at this place, both Kalamukha and Pasupata schools of Saivism flourished. And Siddha cult also became popular here. And apart from Saivism, Shaktiism is also prevalent here. And so we can also see the sculptures of Saptamatrikas and all that. And Jogulamba temple is considered as one of the Mahashakti Pitas among the Ashtadasas. And hence it is one of the oldest places. It is one of the very famous religious places right from ancient times. And coming to this historical background, historical background, in fact, this particular place was ruled by Chalukyas of Badami, and who came into prominence during 540, and it was during the time of Pulakesi II that when he was passing through this place, he decided to construct a temple, but his dream was fulfilled by his successors, and who constructed the Navabrahma group of temples and all. Later, the place also came under the control of Western Chalukyas of Kalyani and also Rashtrakutas and all. Okay, so this is a brief history. Now coming to the Puranic myths and legends on the origin of these temples at Alampur. So the temple, Jogulamba temple, is the earliest temple. And there is a myth like how this temple had come up. So the word Jogulamba is actually derived from Joginula Amma, which means mother of Joginis. And she is considered as a female goddess, and who is said to abandon the earthly attachments. So she had given up all the earthly attachments, and she is known as Yogamba or Yogulamba, as she is also a dancer who dedicated her life to God. So the Jogini tradition, in fact, you can see from Alampur itself, and Jogulamba is a embodiment of this particular tradition, we can say. So this is Jogulamba, and you can see, she's having corpse in her corpse as a garland, and she's seated on a dead corpse, and lizards and all these on her. So it's a rare picture. You don't find this type of a picture anywhere. And this particular deity is worshipped, and she is considered to be a great, a very, very, powerful deity in Telangana. So next, yeah. So this was, so this temple, sorry, this is a, yeah. Next, apart from this temple, Jogulamba temple, we find another group of temples, that is a Navabrahma group of temples. So these Navabrahmeshwara temples are 9 in number. So we can see here all these Navabrahma temples. Actually, individual temples photos were taken, but they are not so clear at that time. So I wanted to show all these together, 1, 2, 3, another one behind, 4, 5, 6, and the 3 temples, as I've showed you in the map also. 3 temples are little away from, little distance away from. So Balabrahmeshwara temple, in fact, this temple we see it is still, puja and all are performed when we went. But I'm really sorry to say, most of the temples, in all these temples, there's no regular worship of the deity. There's no regular puja. But this is something which I felt sad when I went at that time. But I don't know now how it is. This was in 2016 I went. After that, I couldn't get time to visit again. Then you have Taraka Brahmeshwara temple, Swarga Brahma temple, Padma Brahmeshwara, Garuda Brahmeshwara, Kumara Brahmeshwara, Araka Brahmeshwara, and Veera Brahmeshwara and Viswa Brahmeshwara temples. So all these temples, though the name Brahma is there, but all these temples are dedicated to Lord Shiva, who appeared before Brahma in 9 different forms. Okay, and blessed him with restoration of powers of creation, which he lost due to a curse of a saint. It is said that Brahma was cursed by a saint. So to restore these powers, so this name was being given to these Navabrahma temples, though they are Navabrahma, but Brahmeshwara, Brahma plus Ishwara. So that means these are Saivite temples. And this is the architectural. So I've taken one particular temple to show the architectural styles. More or less, almost all the temples are of this style. And here you have the Sikhara and Amalaka. And this is Mahanasi, which you find in all the temples. And Kosta Panjaras. This is one of the most significant feature of these temples, we can say. And Padam and Stambas. These are the Stambas you have. And kostas. The kostas are, these are the kostas, and Adhisthana and Pradakshinapada. So what is really significant about these temples is the sculptural art. You can see the sculptural art on these temples. I will show each of these. And this particular style of temples are built in Nagara and other style, the Dravida style also, hence they are called as Vesara style. So the style, the unique style is a Chalukyan style, is Vesara style. So here you can find the Vesara style of temples. Vesara is a combination of both Nagara and Dravida style of temples. Therefore, in Alampur, you can get a better picture or a good example of these Nagara style of temples. So there is also another legend with regard to the construction of these temples, Brahmeshwara Kshetra. And according to the legend, it says that why these temples? Who built? So one thing, historically, it is clear that it was built by the Chalukyan rulers. But every place has some myths, Sthala Puranas and all, some legends. So that is, if you take not only Alampur, but any place, any religiously significant place has some myths and legends attached to it. So the construction of these Navabrahma temples, according to the legend, it's been attributed to one person, a devotee of Shiva. His name is Siddha, Rasa Siddha. Okay, so according to this legend, it says that there lived a widow by name Punyavati in Varanasi, and she was an ardent devotee of Shiva. And her husband dies before, she gives birth only, but once, so she does a prayer to Lord Shiva, and Shiva bestows him with a son, gives a grant that boon that she would be having a son. So people were really surprised. How come she's been a widow and she gave birth to a son? So she's been casted with aspirations. Then Punyavati advised her son to praise Shiva and seek his assistance. And the son did as instructed by her. And then, pleased by the penance of the young boy, Rasasiddha, Lord Shiva instructed him to build a temple for all goddesses at Alampur. So Rasasiddha came to Alampur and he started constructing the temples. While he was engaged in the work, there was one king, Vilasat king, and he invaded the site and destroyed all the work. Then one day he also tried to snatch away the pot that contains a miracle drink, which was the power to turn any stone into gold. So Siddha then cursed the king about losing his all army and wealth. Then one day the king was wandering in the forest searching for water and food, and he met one hunter and asked him to provide food. The hunter went in search of food in the forest and saw a deer. So while trying to kill the deer requested him not to kill, as she had to feed her younger ones and promised that she would return after feeding them. So it is believed that the deer told the hunter that if she does not come back, she would suffer the same fate as that of Vilasat. So the hunter, empty-handed, returned and told the same story to the king. Then the king realized his, what he had done, and he came back and he promised, he begged this Rasasiddha and asked him to forgive him. And then he said he would finance the construction of all the temples. So in that way, he reconstructed all these temples. So this is a legend. So so it is also important because legends and myths are part of our culture, and it is that gives some sort of sanctity to the place also. And yeah, now coming to these sculptural art on Navabrahma temples. So here we found on one temple near Balabrahma temple, Shiva Parvati seated on a Nandi. So usually you don't come across this type of Nandi is usually shown separately. But here you find Shiva and Parvati being seated, and this we found in Balabrahma temple. And then you have Gangadhara Murti, another beautiful sculpture. And so Saptamatrika panel and Gajalakshmi sculptures also we found. That is found in almost every temple near the door jambs and all. And these are something again Vidyadharas, which are found on the almost near the ceiling of the temple, near the brackets and all. So these Vidyadharas in amorous positions you can see. And so the beauty of this is the sculptor did not leave any space. And the way he tried to, sculpt very beautifully with the costumes and all the other, hairdressers and everything was taken care by the sculptor here. So this is another picture of these Vidyadharas, a close, a bigger picture. So you can see these things. Okay, then here you have other deities also. So in the Koshtas, in the Koshta Panjaras, we find Agni, Surya, Indra, like this different, different deities were being, sculpted. So we come across different sculptures, and here also Tripurantaka Murti sculpture, and also Nataraja also been sculpted here in this one. And these are Sivadwarapalas, which are found in some of the temples of Navabrahmas and some temples. Unfortunately, some of the these sculptures are effaced. There was Muslim invasions, and then we found also a mosque near the temple complex. So these Muslim invasions, because of these Muslim invasions, most of the these sculptures were effaced. And okay, next you have Siva Bhikshatana Murti, and this is found at Swarga Brahma temple. And Lingodbhava Murti, this is also on the Swarga Brahma temple. This is very beautiful sculpture. You have Brahma and Vishnu on either side worshipping Shiva during this great, Lingodbhava. And here, this is very interesting. The amorous Mithuna couples you can see here are so different postures, very elegantly sculptured, and very, including the dress and all that they wore was taken care of, jewelry that was worn by the, these people were also taken care, and headdress and all this. So it shows that these people have here again another sculptures you have. And and this is again something interesting. This we found while going to this Navabrahma group of temples on the lower frieze, while on the Pradhisthana Pata. Uh, uh, so Pradakshina. And here you have the elephants, okay, and monkeys, and birds, and then again monkeys, and so they have these beautiful sculptures. Generally, we tend to overlook all these things when we go to a temple because they are on the lower frieze, and they are hardly visible. So when we went, when we had this closer look at these things, they were so beautifully depicted. Of course, now some of them are been, effaced and all in course of time, because this was done long time back, almost eighth century, 8th and 9th century, during that time. So they had to withstand the vagaries of time and weather. So this is again elephant, and fish is also been depicted. And here you have lions, and so again here also you can see the fauna, flora, plants, coconut plants, and monkeys climbing on these plants. And of course these were being effaced. Uh, so some of them are broken sculptures we can see, and Purna Kumbhas and everything is found. So these are again other sculptures. And of course, in any temple during those times, Angaboga and Rangaboga are two important things. Angaboga is being given, I mean, is rituals that are performed in the for the god, and Rangaboga is a kind of service that has been rendered by the people in different ways. It can be in the form of music, dance, or I mean, cleaning and anything. Okay, so this is a kind of service. In most of the temples, you can see that this music and dance became part of the temple traditions. So we find all these things here in this sculptural art. Everywhere, in everything, every temple you have a panel where you have these type of sculptures. So different types of instruments like flute, drums, and mridangam, and all this are being shown. So which means that the entertainment was part of the temple culture, and people learned many things through these type of sculptures. In fact, the very point, I mean, that is my opinion, the way they, I mean, been depicted is to educate the people who come there. uh, Okay, next you have these common people. So a queen may be visiting in her chariot to the temple. So then you have other common people coming, and you have many I mean followers of Saivism. They also been coming, and so you have these different sculptures being depicted, and some war scenes are also being depicted. Uh, so these are all small panels you can see, but they have been very clearly showing. So you have here, I mean, killing of animals, fighting with the lion, and so all these hunting scenes and war scenes are being very clearly depicted here. And flowers are another flora, depiction of flora. So they have not merely lotus is usually been depicted in most of the temples, but this does not appear to be lotus. I don't know, maybe somebody can correct me. It looks more like a sunflower type or any. So you have lotus also been depicted. There's a on the ceilings, usually on the ceilings you find, and as brackets also we find that flowers been carved on the brackets and also on the pillars and all. And when we were actually, I mean, going through the temple, when we were making our visit, we saw something was digging up over there. And when we went closer, we saw this image. This image of, I mean, people call Laja Gauri, or, I mean, squatting goddess, or, I mean, she's been given, I mean, different names are being given, but she is a fertility cult, a goddess of fertility cult, we can say. So we see here this type of images we found more in even in the museum near that temple complex. So here there is a interesting thing why this particular, why the head is been severed from the body. So there's a legend which says that which is very popular among the people with regard to Yellamma and Bhudevi temples also that were found there. So Renuka, it was said, who is a faithful wife of sage Jamadagni, used to bring water from the river Tungabhadra and make a pot out of clay, and she used to carry water daily for the performance of puja. So it was said that her Pati Bhakti, had given her the powers to mold the clay in the form of pots. So one day she happened to see queen and king bathing in the river, and then she was disturbed by this sight, and she could not prepare the pots, and she returns to the ashram empty-handed. So her husband, he discerned, he understood what was the cause for her disturbance, and felt that she has deviated from her path of righteousness. So he ordered his sons to kill her. So no one comes forward, and finally Parashurama, he fulfills the wish of his father. So pleased with Parashurama's devotion, the Rishi asked to choose a boon, and Parashurama asked his father to bring his mother Renuka to life. So Jamadagni said that he could attach her head to the body, but he told that Renuka's head would be adored by the name of Yellamma, and also people will worship the body in the name of Bhudevi. So her head. So someone was asking me what were those. So we can only see the head of a female figure in some of the things. Perhaps maybe that is a head of Bhudevi. I'm not sure. Maybe you can correct me. And her body. This is a body. This has been found in many. I mean, so many sculptures of this particular thing were found in the museum. I'm really surprised why so many. And one was when we went, one was getting. I mean, they were excavating that. So it is really surprising that. It's quite interesting also that one particular place is producing so many sculptures of this Lajja Gauri. I mean, the so-called people call her as Lajja Gauri. So she can be Yellamma or Bhudevi. She can be Bhudevi also. And so this is a story of this Navabrahma group of temples and all. And next, after independence, what happened? Indian government wanted to develop irrigational projects and all. So as part of this, they also decided to construct one, Sri Salem project. So and on the river Krishna, Nagarjun Sagar and Sri Salem projects they wanted to construct. And when Jawaharlal Nehru visited these places, he was really, most of these temples he found on the confluence of these rivers. So he suggested that these rivers should be transplanted. So the archaeology department, that is Archaeological Survey of India, had transplanted most of these temples. Several temples were relocated. And so this Kudaveli Sangameshwara temple, which is at Kudaveli, this also was transplanted by I.K. Sharma and his team. They also had established a site museum also. So at that time, they also found a lot of sculptures and all. So this site museum, which you found at Alampur, we have again different rare sculptures. Here we have a sculpture of Nandi. So similar sculpture we found at Balabrahma temple also. But there, the sculpture of Shiva and Parvati were bigger than Nandi. But here, the Nandi is bigger than Shiva and Parvati. So in none of the temples, which I have visited in Telangana so far, I have not seen these type of sculptures, which are something rare and which I found it very interesting. And then there is also a sculpture of a cat, so which is dated to be belonging to 7th, 8th century. And the museum also houses Nagaraja and also Sthanapati and Dakshinamurti and like that. It has many beautiful sculptures and Pradosha Murti and Surya. A lot. There are so many sculptures of Surya with different attributes. Okay, so here you have Surya. These are the labels based on these I'm telling. So Surya has been, this has been because of the chakra probably. And here also is because of these attributes, it's been considered as Surya. Here also Surya. So all these sculptures, probably these were all found in different places when the excavations were taking place and when they are transplanting. So all these were brought and kept it in the museum. And then Ganapati, this is a Chalukyan, typical Chalukyan Ganapati. So you have, and then again, this is another Ganapati, and you have elephant, Nandi, like this, all these sculptures. So they were all very beautifully and well preserved in this museum. And inscriptions also, several inscriptions were placed in the museum. So all these are from Alampur. And one interesting thing is Alampur, though it was built by the Chalukyas of Badami, it received continuous patronage from different rulers and all. So it remained as a live temple even till today. It did not just, because we have seen so many temples, particularly at Nagulapadu and Naganuru and other places, that the temples were constructed, such beautiful temples were constructed, but most of these temples did not receive patronage even till today, and even the Sivalingas were thrown out of the temple. That is what we have seen. It's such a sad thing. But Alampur, probably being a Shakti Pita, and because it has that power, so this temple remained as a continuous, received continuous patronage. And the next, this is Kodavelli Sangameshwara temple. This is one of the beautiful temple which has attracted. It looks like this. It has so many wonderful features, we can say. So originally the temple was located 20 kilometers northeast of Alampur on the confluence of Krishna and Tungabhadra rivers at Kudavelli. And this temple was also said to be constructed by Chalukyas of Badami, and was so the transplantation of the temple was completed by January 1990, and I think Dr. Nagireddy was also part of this transplantation project. And yeah, so these are some of the architectural features uh, uh, of this particular temple. Amalaka, you have here Kalastupi and Amalaka Sila and Tala, Karnamalakas, Sikhara, Torana, Kostas, Goda Mandapa. This is one interesting thing which I'm going to expand and show it to you. Goda Mandapa, on the side of Goda Mandapa, above Goda Mandapa, what you have. I'm going to expand in the other slide. So Sopana, these are central steps. You have Adhisthana, and so this is the temple. And here is this Pradakshina Patha. So as you move, the Pradakshina Patha, as you go along the Pradakshina Patha, you find beautiful architectures. So this is side view of the temple. And so this is a separate Nandi Mandapa. You have Nandi, but unlike the Navabrahma temples where Nandi is, Rasiva and Parvati were seated on Nandi, you don't find it here. And so so as we go around the Pradakshina Patha, we have these Koshta Panjaras in which you have all these different sculptures. Okay, you have different types of toranas, you have different types of jalis, that is windows. Okay, so I'll show you all these things. So here you have the most interesting is Vishnumurti with his concerts. And here he's holding the pinda in his hand. So Chakra and Shankha and his concerts. So this Vishnumurti, this is one of the rare sculptures. Okay, this is one of the rare sculptures that we find here, and that is one of the reasons why this particular place is also called as Dakshina Kasi, and where people can perform the ritual, last rites, and also అంటే అక్కడికి వెళ్ళే బదులు గంగకి వెళ్ళే బదులు ఇక్కడే ఆ కార్యక్రమాలన్నీ చేసుకోవచ్చు అని, అంటే అంత ప్రసిద్ధి, అంత it got such sanctity. So that is one of the reasons. That is what been explained to us by the Brahman over there, the priest over there. So this is one thing. And Yamuna with Makara Torana. And here Ardhanarishwara. This is very beautiful. You can clearly see the Ardhanarishwara. Here the male and here the female portion. Ardhanarishwara sculpture has been very beautifully fit into that particular Koshta Panjara. And then you have Padmanidhi and Sankhanidhi, two important, they are like guardians of the temple. So, and you have Nagaraja with snake hood, Harihara, and then Lapulisa. So these are some of the, and these are the jalis which are quite interesting. And one unique thing is, every jali is different and every torana is different. You have here, you have swastika jali, and it has gaja toranas. Gaja has been depicted in this way. And then you have square shape jali, and you have makara toranas, and again you have another square shape, a different type of a square shape. And here you have then again gajatorana. So there's a difference between the gajas that have been, that means elephant, that is here and here. You can see the difference, how the elephant is been depicted. And then here you have Padmakara. These are the lotus type of Padmakara jalis. And here you have Hamsa Torana. And look at the fountain in the center, and very beautiful Toranas. And here the lotus medallion, and then Padmakara. And here you find the Gandharvas. The Gandharvas Torana you find. And here also, here the Gandharvas are facing this side, this side, and here towards the flower. Okay, so this is another beautiful ornamentation that you can see in this temple, that is Sangameshwara temple. And again, you have diamond shaped jalis. Okay, so again, here also you have Makara Toranas, and again Hamsa Toranas, and again diamond shape. So you have different types of toranas with all these makara and gandharvas and all. So this is what I talked about earlier, Guda Mandapa. So in this Guda Mandapa, you can see there's a crocodile. Okay, a big crocodile is there, and you have a person here in three different directions. So in here, he's like a small boy playing with the crocodile. And if you come here, he's like a man trying to fight with the crocodile. And here you find the man is tired. He's no longer. So he became old fighting with the crocodile, and he's about to give up the fight. So you can see the stretch of the mouth also of the crocodile. So it's only one crocodile, and three angles you go, and you find three different ways. So it's a 3D image which you can see on this Guda Mandapa of this Sangameshwara temple. So this is one of the rare sculptures which I have not come across anywhere. Probably if anyone comes across, please let me know. So I would be happy to try to make the comparisons. So this is again another panel depicting the cultural aspects of the period. So you can see the people playing. These are the group dance and group, musical instruments and all these things. You can see everything over here. And next you have this Papanasi group of temples. These you find at Alampur, 3 kilometers south of Alampur. And there are 23 shrines. So you can see it's a cluster of temples. Okay, there are 23 small shrines here. And unlike the earlier temples which I've showed, where you have the sculptures around the temple and all, outer wall of the temple, and even on the Adhisthana and everywhere. But here you don't find this type of sculptures. These are plain temples. But in the Rangamandapa and all, you have pillars which are very beautifully excavated. So these are Famsana temples, they say. So these are the group of temples. And so these are the pillars. So this is a ceiling on one of the temples. So Navagraha panel on the ceiling we can see on the Papanasi temple, and very beautifully sculpted. And then you have the sculpted pillars. Both the epics Rama and Mahabharata and the Dasavtaras were also depicted, and the Saptamatrika panel also we find in this particular group of temples. So here you have the Ramayana, and the entire. So this is the battlefield, and the Ravana and Rama fighting, and all this whole thing, Sita in the forest. So the entire episode has been depicted in these small blocks, we can say, in the temple. That's a very small pillars you have, and but they have depicted the entire epics, both Ramayana and Mahabharat, very beautifully. And one more important thing about this temple is there is Sivalinga, which is greenish, so like Pachala Someshwara temple. Here also we have a Sivalinga in green color, and next, for every 5 minutes, one drop of water falls near the entrance. Don't know from where it falls, but it is something a very beautiful engineering skill, we can see. So here you have the Sagara Madanam, and fight between, this is a fight between Rama and Ravana, here you can see. So finally, we have this tourism department, which decided to make this as a very important tourist site, for being a very spiritual and a religious place and a great Shakti Pita. So it decided, that this particular place to be promoted. So it built, this particular Harita Hotel. So tourists can come here, stay here, watch, see this. So one day is not sufficient to see all these temples. So one has to spend at least 2 days, at least minimum 2 days, to look at the beauty of these temples. Usually people will come, go to this Jogalamba temple, pray. They ignore, nobody goes to these Navabrahma temples. That's what we realized. Jogalamba temple is the most crowded, Balabrahmeshwara temple is the most crowded. Beyond that, people don't know or never go to these Navabrahma group of temples. And Sangameshwara temple, yes, they go. But Papanasi temples also, it is hardly people go there. So it is very important that we should go to these temples and appreciate the beauty of this. So in fact, we are fortunate that our sculptors, of ancient period, they have given us such great wealth, such great beauty, and we should appreciate all these things. So one can utilize the government Harita Hotel, stay there, and travel to this place and enjoy the beauty of Alampur. So thank you all.
Thank you, Aruna, for a very, very nice lecture on Alampur. Alampur is not like any other temple town, but it has its uniqueness in having many number of temples in different styles and in different, not only architectural, but even the art flourish like anything, right from 8th century to 16th century. There is a long continuity. And one cannot, as you said, I agree with you that 1 day is not enough, at least a week.
Yes,
one has to stay, read, study, observe a week. But the temple is also famous for what we call that miniature sculpture on the pillars. Most of the pillars that are on display in a museum at Alampur, you have got all the narratives in a small 3x3. It is really wonder. True. Then you also have that caricature images on the Adhisthana of Alampur, and now Brahma caricatures, all R.K. Lakshman's cartoons you can find there. So what I mean to say here is you have given us a lot of take homes that I would like to just sum up, is that Alampur is known as Dakshina Kasi for varieties of reasons, but our more interest is, as far as the heritage is concerned, the temples are built basically in Rekha Nagara Prasada, that is parabolic structure. Nagara has varieties. This is the Rekha Nagara. And very important is Rekha Nagara. Then the temples are Sandhara, that is inside you have got Pradakshina Pada, and outside also you have got Pradakshina Pada. So Sandhara is wherein the Pradakshina Pada is inside only one. Then you also have that Mahamandapa inside, the entire temple complex inside only. it is enclosed. So that is one important thing. Other is that the architecture is totally different. It is new to that area since the area was under the rule of the Chalukyas of Badami since Pulakesin II in 612 ascended to the throne and occupied this area around 616 and 17. Since then, until the Rashtrakutas came over to this part of the country in 755 AD, it was under their control. You know, most of the kings are right from this Pulakesi, then Vikramaditya, Vinayaditya, Vijayaditya. You have a wonderful 74-line Vijayaditya's Prasasti, wherein he was regarded as next to the Asoka in people's welfare and what to call religious syncretism. Like that, not only art, not only architecture, but religious, you find those 2 or 3 sects of Saivism, Lakulisha cult, Pasupata cult, Kapalika cult, Kalamuka cult, all have contributed for what to call the religious significance of Alampur. Jogulamba, we cannot ignore it. It is known as the 5th Shaktipeeth of India out of 18. Then after that is that Papanasi. There are many number of such concepts went into making this wonderful Tirtha Kshetra. It is a Tirtha Kshetra, temple built on the river bank. That is Tirtha Kshetra. Then Papanasi group of temples, as one of our friends, Vijay Shivasankar Babu says that there are many number of forms and order of temples at Papanasi, nowhere he could come across. So that is also true. And the architectural styles, as we go and observe, is basically the Chalukyas of Badami, that is Reka Nagara, and the Rashtrakutas, pure Nagara or Dravida. Both the varieties are there in the 2 complexes. And as you said, next is that Kalyani Chalukyan element is also there. If you go to Yoga Narasimha and Surya Narayana, the entire temple belongs to the Kalyani Chalukyan phase. You can find the little movement in the journey of the architecture. There is variation in expression of the architecture. After that, you have got a Kakatiya element. Really, we do not find any Kakatiya element except 1 or 2 sculptures. There is no architectural ensemblage at Alampur. But you have got what you call is that the Pratolis of the Rashtrakuta, but that Meenakshi temple gateway is there. You have seen now that Gopura. They call it as gateway. That gateway was built in Vijayanagara period, and you also have got Krishna Devaraya's inscription there. So, as you said earlier, it is really an epitome of the journey of architecture, which really took firm roots here and culminated up to Vijayanagara period. The same is the case with all number of sculptures. If you go to the museum, you do not have time, even you will be struck at one place like that. Thank you so much. And now I would like to take up just, there are many appreciations for you, but 2 or 3 questions are there. I will just read it out for your clarification. Shivasankar Babu, he is known for Babu for heritage, and he is representing Tamil Heritage Trust. And he is asking, is Alampur much more older than the Kurnool city nearby?
Kurnool city. So Alampur is it was older. It was during the Chalukyan time only. You have no, sir. Kurnool city is something. It's Alampur was part of this Mahbub Nagar. So these districts in those times, you don't have this type of districts like Kurnool and all this. So Alampur, it was mentioned in the inscriptions at that time itself, and it was referred to as Halampura and all. So it is definitely a older place.
No, I have something to supplement is that in Kurnool, yes, it is contemporary to Alampur because you have got on the all along the river in that what you call there is Uttaradi Matta. And all along the river, you have got Chalukyan fortification and a Chalukyan gateway contemporary to Alampur. So it is a contemporaneous.
Yeah, Alampur is Kurnool city. I'm talking about Kurnool city.
Yes, Kurnool city. I am telling Kurnool. The fortification is there all along Tungabhadra, how we have got at Alampur. that most of the people won't know. We have documented it. Then next question is by Sivasankar Babuji only. There is the confluence of early Nagara and Dravida style and Odisha style branching from here to Sri Mukhalingam. In what way Costa Panjaras are different from normal costas in Navabrahma? This is actually a very complex question. Yes, please. One is that there is confluence.
I think this type of questions, technically, I'm not really aware of all these things because I
You endorse
presented
me.
my observations when I went to that temple. So technical knowledge in architecture, I think I should take help from Nagreddy sir only.
Yes, thank you. Now, Sivasankar Babu Garu, Nagara and Dravida. There is purely Nagara variety, but Dravida is one or two temples only. Alampur is the Tarka Brahma is Dravida, but at Papanasam you find many Dravida varieties, but there is not a mixture of both Nagara and Dravida, one sense. The other thing is branching of architecture from here to Sri Mukhalingam. Similarly, they look alike, but what happened was there are cultural currents. They move because they hail from Badami, Banavasi area only, Kadampas. From there, what happened? They might have taken elements from